So for this project, I decided to take the restoration path because for as long as I've known Malaysia, my best friend of 7 years, we love swords and Gothic and medieval furniture, and we have just been dying for a throne. So I knew when she had to come visit me for my birthday in Savannah, there was no better time than to go search for a throne for this project. So we went up the street to Jer's Antiques, and this thing was crazy. There was wall-to-wall furniture everywhere. Most of the aisles we could barely fit through, but it was so cool and so hot and so insane. But we searched through this maze of an antique store, and eventually we did find the one. So Jer himself told us about this chair. He said it was from England in the 1830s, and after a little bit of research, I found out it was a King Charles II chair. They started in the Restoration period, kind of starting in 1690 all the way to the 1800s. They're turned and carved from walnut typically, and they use cane seating for the bottom and back of the chair, which was great back then, but as you could see for current day, mine was kind of falling apart. So I decided to restore it. And another great thing about these chairs is that they are super lightweight, which was great for getting it in and out of my car. So I took it to Gulfstream and started getting to work. I made SolidWorks patterns for the seat and the back, cut it out with just some scrap plywood I had left over on my shelf, and started to cut out some foam for both the cushions. This is me gluing it together, putting it together just traditionally how you would. All of the foam I used for this was left over from the upholstery class I just took, so I feel like it really fit into this kind of reusing and repurposing spirit of the project. I bought this really pretty kind of brick red fabric to kind of match that like royal, regal feel of the chair. And one of the things I even saw in my research was that sometimes if people didn't want to sit on the cane seating, they'd just throw a cushion on top, so I'm really not even that far off from being historically accurate. This is me finishing up some of the upholstery work, and then once that was finished, I had to rip out the cane seating from the actual chair, and they weren't kidding. This stuff is really strong. It was so much harder than I thought it was going to be to tear it out. But eventually I did, and I just had to sand off whatever was left of the cane seating stuck in the holes. And for attaching the cushions, I decided to go with an epoxy. I was really worried about trying to use screws or staples within this piece just because it was really old, and I was worried it would maybe split the wood or damage it in some way. So epoxying the cushions to the front and back just seemed like the easiest way to attach it without being too harmful to the original wood. And once the cushions were attached, it was pretty much done. This is me giving it a little bit of a test run at Gulfstream, and it is actually so comfortable. I'm so happy I decided to put cushions on it. But this is the finished piece. I'm really excited with how it turned out. Picking it out with Malaysia on my 21st was such a special day. And as kids, we always kind of talked about like living together after college and having a cute little house full of antique furniture, and now that we're a year out from graduating, that dream's pretty close to coming true, so I think this will be a great piece to start that little dream.